Has the use of Queen Elizabeth II's name been banned? Well, the UK government is saying that it's closely protected. But what the deuce does that actually mean? Well, make sure you subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for more details in this Daily Nerd starting right now. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef, the Alternate, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, before I jump into all the juicy details with this video's main topic, there is a little bit of housekeeping. Firstly, YouTube human reviewer, I see you lurking. I'm not going to say any trigger words or anything that's going to offend your ear holes. And to everyone else awesome enough to have clicked on this video, hey up, how y'all doing? If you've got some very strong opinions about the use of Queen Elizabeth II's name, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. Let's have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And oh yeah, let's jump into this one, shall we? So, yep, the BBC is reporting that Queen Elizabeth's name will be closely protected. So what does this all mean? So buildings, parks, pubs, businesses, they can't be renamed after the late Queen Elizabeth II without specific permission. The Cabinet Office has warned. The name of the late Queen is going to be, quote, closely protected in terms of how it's going to be used, says a new guidance. So the Cabinet Office, which let's call it the UK government here, says permission for using the late Queen's name will only be sparingly granted. An official national memorial to the late Queen is also to be commissioned, says the government. Now, there are already many places and businesses named after historic royal names. You've got the Royal Albert Hall, to the Queen Victoria pub, but official guidance has recently been issued by the Cabinet Office warning about the limits on using modern royal titles and names. In particular, there are concerns about making sure that the late Queen Elizabeth II's name is only used in, quote, dignified and appropriate ways. And we'll be going through in a moment 10 places that are already named after Queen Elizabeth II. Now, the government spokeswoman has said, quote, the full title of Queen Elizabeth II will continue to be closely protected to preserve the rarity of the honour. So with the anniversary of the Queen's death closely approaching in September, which, wow, it's nearly been a year already. It's just gone by so fast, guys. The guidance points to the, quote, commissioning of an official national memorial to Queen Elizabeth II, which is going to be announced in due course. As soon as that's announced, I will be reporting on it, so make sure you subscribe to this channel so I can keep you updated on all the royal news and gossip that's going to come our way. Now, the government says that many local organisations or community groups might want their own memorial to the late Queen Elizabeth II, such as, you know, naming a park, local amenity, business, street after her, but strict standards are going to be applied. This is the warning that's coming from the government. Inquiries in England and Northern Ireland managed by the Cabinet Office and by the governments in Scotland and Wales. And the use of the late Queen's name will only, quote, be granted for applications with strong royal connections. The advice is requests that incorporate memorial or remembrance in a proposed name are likely to be looked upon favourably where possible. And so, what are, let's say, some of the places and things that are already named after the late Queen Elizabeth II? So the first one is Queen Elizabeth's Olympic Park. So we've got 560 acres of this park, which is about 226.6 hectares. Arguably the largest thing in London to be named after our late Queen. It's bigger than Hyde Park, bigger than Regent's Park. Since the 2012 games that were held in London, the park has gradually been converted to housing and entertainment purposes, but still retains several of the Olympic venues and plenty of open space. We also have the Elizabeth line, It's an underground line in London that's named after Queen Elizabeth II. The Elizabeth Line name was announced in 2016, officially inaugurated by Queen Elizabeth herself only last year in May 2022. The line runs from Reading in the west through central London and out to Abbey Wood and Shenfield in the east. So it goes from west to east and goes through central London. So a very, very popular line. We've got the Queen Elizabeth II Bridge in Dartford and Thurrock. It's the most easterly bridge over the Thames, lies just outside of London. But yeah, the crossing was opened back in 1991, so this was well over 30 years ago. 130,000 vehicles go over it each and every day. But yeah, this was also named after Queen Elizabeth II. We also have the Elizabeth Tower in Westminster. So to commemorate her Diamond Jubilee back in 2012, the Queen got her name associated with, the world's most famous clock tower, Big Ben. So this is the thing, right? Big Ben is literally just the bell, right? The tower itself going up to Big Ben, that's Elizabeth Tower. Now, we've got the Queen Elizabeth II Centre in Westminster. And so, essentially, this is a conference venue that's across the road from Westminster Abbey. The building is owned by the state and was given the Queen's name when she opened it back in 1986, which, fun fact, year I was born. This was the venue from which it was announced that Liz Truss, last year, had won the Tory leadership vote and hence would become the next Prime Minister in September 2022. Queen passed away then 3 days later. We then have the Queen Elizabeth Hall that's in South Bank. So, yeah, this is alongside the National Theatre on the South Bank. It was opened in 1967, guys, primarily as a music venue. But it's perhaps better known for its undercroft, which has been a popular skateboarding area since the 1970s. Then we've got Heathrow Airport, the Queen's Terminal. Oh, yes. Also known as Heathrow Terminal 2. Her Majesty opened the new facility back in 2014. It was replaced an older Terminal 2 in the offices of BAA, known as the Queen's Building. We've also got the Queen Elizabeth II Great Court on the British Museum, simply called the Great Court, or the bit of the British Museum under that amazing glass roof, is also named after Queen Elizabeth II when she opened it back in the year 2000, the turn of the millennium. You've got the Queen's Gallery at Buckingham Palace. They possess, the royal family, the largest private art collection in the world. But they make sure that the collection is shared with the public via the Queen's Gallery, which is just to the south of Buckingham Palace. It was opened by Queen Elizabeth back in 1962. Queen Elizabeth II Stadium in Enfield. So yeah, it's Enfield's QE2 Stadium, is an outdoor track and field affair, serving the local area since the 50s. But gained the Queen's name in the Silver Jubilee year of 1977. Sebastian Coe trained there, along with Daley Thompson and Linford Christie, some big, massive names in the sport of athletics. Today, though, the stadium is used as the home ground for football club Enfield Town FC, or, for all my Americans out there, soccer club. We've got Elizabeth Gate, Kew Gardens, and so there are other entrances, but this includes Elizabeth Gate, which fronts onto Kew Green, which is to the east. The entrance is Victorian, but the name came only in 2012 to mark the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. We've got the Queen's Gardens in Croydon as well. And so this was reopened by the Queen back in 1983 after a big overhaul, and it was renamed after her. We've got the Queen's Theatre in Hornchurch. It's a local theatre on the very edge of London, which first opened in 1953. On its 50th anniversary, the main theatre can accommodate 507 people. And this was then named after the Queen herself. The adjacent Queen's Green is also named after her. We also have hospitals named after Queen Elizabeth II, including this infirmary in Smithfield. Part of the medieval Charterhouse complex, the QE2 Infirmary is a small care home with nursing for elderly men. She has piers named after her. North Greenwich, the QE2 Pier, that was built in 1997 to serve the imminent arrival of the Millennium Dawn and Jubilee Line extension. It's since been renamed as the North Greenwich Pier, but more informative and sees regular Thames Clipper services. Colleges are named after Queen Elizabeth as well. The Queen Elizabeth College at the University of London. Now, it traces its origins to the Ladies' Department at King's College, which opened all the way back in 1885. It was rebadged, though, renamed as Queen Elizabeth's College in the coronation year. And so, yeah, she's got colleges named after her, terraces named after her, walks named after her. Like, so many things are already named after Queen Elizabeth II. The government now, seeing as she has now sadly passed away, are being more precious about the name and being more protective about the name. And so, yeah, it's going to be more difficult now to name something after Queen Elizabeth II because, yep, the government have got some very strict guidelines on this, and you need their approval to now name something after the late Queen. With that being said, enough with my gob. It's now time for your gobs. If you appreciated this video and you want more, and of course there's gonna be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our alternate tribe. I'll be very honest with you. Help us get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, and whatever's. Also, as well, if you've got some very strong opinions about the use of Queen Elizabeth II's name, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. Let's have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.